Hey everybody, Claire here, and look who I have.
It's me!
Oh my god, it's her! This is the amazing, lovely Whitney Adams. If you are not familiar, which I mean you should be, I mean hello, press the pause button, go figure it out. But you will see all of her information in the description below. But Whitney is the amazing host of the Whitney A channel. So all fun things relating to wine, entertaining. It's so much fun, and she has the best personality, so you're gonna love it. So make sure to check it out, and also please show her some love on Instagram.
Oh, thank you. Hey, Whitney A.
Whitney A. We today are talking about cool jobs. We both have a lot of friends who are in very creative fields, and I thought it'd be kind of a fun idea to invite them on and to have them talk a little bit about the nitty-gritty of what they do, because I feel like when people think of sommelier or entertainment expert or like party expert or something, they think that it's just like, oh, it's all just like champagne and like la la la.
Fun and games.
You basically get to be Robin Leach, I think is what people kind of think.
Sometimes I do feel like a little bit of Robin Leach, but
I'm realizing it's kind of a dated reference to be making.
We're old.
90% of people don't know what I'm talking about. But I think that people think of that as like very glamorous and fun, and sometimes it is.
Yeah.
But it's also a lot of actual work. So I wanted to kind of talk about what your job actually is, and kind of give people a little sneak peek into it.
So I started out in the wine business as an actor, working in restaurants, and just fell in love with wine that way. And it just kind of took over my life. I've really kind of done everything there is to do within the wine business to try to etch out my own kind of course and career. I haven't actually made wine, so that's the last frontier.
It's gonna happen though.
Probably.
I will say it's gonna happen.
Probably at some point.
Yeah.
This year is the year that I sort of transitioned from, what I call my side hustle to my main hustle. So I finally went fully freelance, saying goodbye to the job that I had for 6 years and kind of a lot of those other little projects and things, and trying to really focus on my YouTube channel and doing more on-camera stuff. And that's where I really feel like I shine and I have the most fun doing it. Kind of taking my acting experience, being in front of the camera, and also my knowledge about wine and the things I love about wine, and combining the two things and then sharing it with all of you guys.
You work in digital, you work as an on-screen personality, but it's all knit together through wine and entertaining.
Right.
And I think that that's super interesting.
Yeah. And I mean, I've found that like the wine thing is interesting because there aren't a lot of people in the space where I am talking about it.
No, and what's crazy is that if you look at any statistics, millennials, so people our age and younger, are drinking more wine per capita than ever. So wine is hot, but there's no one in the wine community who really speaks or relates to people that age, except honestly, I can't think of anyone except for you.
Thanks.
It's true.
I wanted to talk about wine in a way that appealed to someone like me or my friends. And because starting out in wine, I didn't feel like I fit in anywhere within the wine community. I've always kind of maintained this sense of feeling like a newbie.
Maybe it's not that you're like new to the scene as much as a fresh voice in the wilderness, right?
Right.
Like there's no one really speaking for young women in that community quite as, I'd say, with as much fun and sort of saltiness as you do.
There's always more to learn, and there's always a humbling experience around the corner. I'll travel to a wine region I've never been to before, and I'll learn all these things that I didn't know. And I think once you just accept that, like, I don't know it all, then you're much better off.
I feel like when people think of wine, it seems very like fancy and possibly glamorous and expensive and the whole thing. So I'm curious, what has been the most glamorous moment of your job, and what has been the least glamorous moment?
I'll start with the least glamorous. Let's just get right into the dirt, the nitty gritty. Cleaning out spittoons, well,
that's not glamorous at all.
Yeah, like dumping them, and you see, I don't even want to it's disgusting.
A tooth.
You're like, how is that just spit out wine? So that's probably the least glamorous part of the job.
Sounds like it.
And then the most glamorous, I mean, I was luckily last month I was able to go to Italy and France for wine trips, and in Italy we were on Lake Iseo, which is south of Lake Como, so it's still very close to George Clooney country. And we were on this fabulous boat, riding around on the lake with glasses of Franciacorta, which is kind of like Italy's champagne.
Amazing.
And it was just like, what? This is my life? Like,
have you had like a low point where you just were really like, what am I doing? This is dumb. And then what has been like probably your most triumphant moment to date?
I think mainly for me, just like really having the courage to follow my dreams. It's like a daily thing, because there's many times when you're like, I'm just gonna give up. Like, this is just too hard, and nothing's ever gonna happen, and nothing's happening in my career, or you're just stuck in a zone. And it's like you have to make the decision and the choice to continue doing the work. Just put your head down and just keep doing it. And I think taking the leap to finally leave a job where I had felt safe for 6 years, and finally go out and try to like really make those dreams come true. And it sounds so corny and cheesy, but it's like, that takes a lot with your dream chasing.
Like bill paying. Yeah. I think anyone, and I bet anyone in the comments who's had this experience can speak to this as well, but making the transition from an office job to a freelance job when you don't have a safety net, when you're not still in college or high school or whatever, can be really scary, because you don't know where that next paycheck is coming from. You're in charge of that. You have to literally find it or create it for yourself.
Which causes a lot of anxiety, but also like I needed that fire under my ass, like to really push me to be like, there's no turning back now. Like, you got to make it happen for yourself.
What's the moment that caused you to keep going?
So I was named one of LA Weekly's most fascinating people of 2015. And that for me was insane. Who would have thought, when I moved to this city, still with stars in my eyes, and I wanted to be an actress and work in television, and that I would now be in LA Weekly, in this city that I've come to love so much, and be one of their most fascinating Angelinos of the year. I was like,
they weren't wrong.
This is crazy. And I just felt, okay. And I thought about all those nights that I worked long hours at the restaurant, or like had like food and grease all over me, and doing jobs for free and all that stuff. I thought, okay, maybe I am on the right path. This is all this hard work is for something, and it's being recognized. And I feel like now I'm embraced by this community and this city. And okay, keep it up. Let's keep going.
What would you say to someone who, maybe is watching this and they want to get into, the world of wine, or maybe they want to be, they love entertaining and they love facilitating that for people, but they want to find a way to do that, either on camera or something like that. What kind of advice would you give to someone starting out on that path?
I think just doing it. Don't feel like you have to go one direction with it. I kind of went about it in a roundabout way and just tried a lot of different things to see what fit for me. And then I would just move on to the next the minute I knew that wasn't the thing for me. Just immerse yourself in it, and, read as much as you can and taste as much as you can. And, I think with the YouTube stuff, it's just been about like just starting it. I look back at old videos and I'm like, oh, but you had to do that to get to something.
Feel that way.
Yeah, you have to do that to get to someplace better. So you just have to start it.
Having a bunch of no's can be actually so much more helpful than a yes, because going and actually putting yourself out there and doing the work and realizing, oh, this job is not for me, but I'm really glad I tried it because now I got this new skill set.
Right.
And then you move on, and those experiences build character. You end up becoming much more knowledgeable, and it's that thing of where you want to be a well-rounded person. If you just go in this like one locked off path, and that's all with blinders on, you lose context. And especially with something like wine, like you really live the wine life, meaning it's about connection and people and communication and getting to facilitate, a beautiful moment and like use it as like a tool for a memory.
Yeah, and that's the most important thing for me. I think it's everything around the table is more important sometimes than what's on the table. And I love knowing what I know about wine and continuing to learn and tasting amazing stuff and meeting really cool winemakers and all of that. But for me, it's all about sharing that wine and sharing the information I have about it with other people. That's the most fun for me.
Well, please show Whitney some love. Comment below too if you have any questions for her.
Yeah, I'll answer.
Yeah, she will. She'll be there. She'll say hey. Anyway, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Of course.
All right, we'll talk to you later,
guys. Bye, guys.